Hello there, everybody. Happy Higher Self Wednesday. I am so excited. I look so forward to these Higher Self Wednesdays. I don't know about you, I am learning so much. My name is Karen White, and I am the author of this book, Changing Your Game Plan, which is my 12-step journey of how I work the steps. And it is a workbook. Um, it is available on Amazon.com for you. It is for you to work with your sponsor, your therapist, your clergyman, but you have to work this with someone. It's not made for you to work alone. It is my experience, strength, and hope of how I used what four of my sponsors gave me over the years and combined them into the way that I have always sponsored through this program. And now, after working on it for 5 years, I'm able to bring it to you. And I'm really excited. I'm so excited about the feedback to this book. Thank you so much. And I am receiving your messenger request to me, but I'm not answering anything on Messenger. But if you go out to programchild.net, you can fill out a comment and then we will answer you back as soon as possible. I know you've been asking me about speaking at conferences, speaking at meetings. Yes, if I'm available, yes to all of that. And I would be more than happy to service you. I love this book. One of the things that I did in this book is I only use the four original books that are in this program. I used the AA Big Book. I used the AA 12 and 12. I used the Al-Anon 12 and 12 and the ODAP. And that's it. Those are the four books that I use. I know there's lots of literature. People have asked me questions. Why don't you use other literature? Because those were the four that got me well, and I'm sharing my experience, strength, and hope with you. And those are the four that I have always used and continue to use in this program for over 33 plus years being in this program. And I always say this is my journey. Take what you like and leave the rest. This book has helped hundreds of people, maybe even thousands. I don't know. Over the years, I've been privileged to talk to and sponsor so many people that have come and still in this program or come and have left this program. I am very fortunate because I'm in both sides of this program. I'm in an addictive program as well as I'm in a non-program. So I have both sides of this program. The one thing that I like about this program is, and like I tell you all the time, is the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You can be in any 12-step program and work the steps just like this. Any Gamblers Anonymous, Sex Anonymous, Anon, Narcotics Anonymous, Heroin Anonymous, Coda, Al-Anon, AA. It doesn't matter because the 12 steps come out of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. That is the book that you need to work the 12 steps. No matter what program you're in, whatever addition to literature they have, I am highly respectful of addition to literature because, of course, I have addition to literature because I just wrote my journey on the steps. But I do believe that the original program comes from the Big Book. So you need the Big Book no matter what program you're in this 12-step journey that you're on. You need the Big Book. So get it, read it. You'll love it. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience for you. It changes you so much just going through it. And I'm excited because we are on step 12. And it's very hard. I'm still deciding. So I don't know how I'm going to end this. I don't know if I'm going to just stay in the big book with step 12, and because there's so much, the big book has dedicated a whole chapter to step 12 called working with others. So I'm not sure if I'm going to stay in the big book the whole time this month, or if I'm going to switch it out and go to, the other books that we have, the AA 12 and 12, the Al-Anon 12 and 12. I don't know. So keep coming back and you'll see whichever way that I decide to take this. So I'm excited about it. But let's get started because we have a lot of stuff to cover in step 12. As you know, I truly believe that every word in the steps means something. And one of the things that is in changing the game plan is that in the sponsorship part, in the sponsee part, is that you write down every single word and the definition for every word in the step. And that's what, I did. That's what I was taught to do. My second sponsor, she was really high on that, learning those words, learning what they meant. Dr. Bob, Bill, and the 100 people that wrote the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, they precisely pick words for us to help us in this journey. And so unless you really look them up, you don't find the awareness and the meaning that you need to take the change sometimes that you need to take. Now, I know people will say, well, I never looked them up and I changed. True. But this helps to really open you up and really show you more of a meaning to the 12th step so that you're able to receive more. Because remember, my theory is if you don't understand it, you will not change. It's all about understanding. If I didn't understand these steps, I would have never changed. But these steps were so clear and defined, and I could fit them into my life. And that's what caused me to make the change. So we're going to start with step 12. It's a big one, and we're going to talk about the definitions first, and always like that. Step 12 says, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Having means to accept, take. Had means to experience, undergo, or endure. A means an area. Spiritual means of, concern with, or affecting the soul. Awakening, a recognition, realizing, or coming into awareness of something. Isn't this powerful? This one word just opens you up. As means with the result that. The means beyond any other. Results mean to end in a particular way. Of means caused by, resulting from. These mean what is it about to follow. Steps mean one of a series of actions, processes, or measures taken to achieve a goal. We means refer to all people or people in general. Tried means thoroughly tested and proved to be good or trustworthy. To means in accordance with. Carry means to take from one place to another, to transport. This means being just mentioned or present in space, time, or thought. Message means the substance of such a communication, the point or points conveyed. To means in according with. Let's see. Others means being the remain one or two or more. And I love all the others and we and all that, because that in the program, whenever I see we, thus, others, anything that groups us together, it makes me feel like I'm not alone. And means added to and plus. To means in accordance with. Practice means to do or perform habitually or customarily, making a habit of it. Isn't that something? These means referring to the one near in place, time, or thought, opposite to that. Principles mean the collectivity of moral and ethic standards or judgments. In means within the limits, bounds of, or areas of. I'll say that again. Within the limits, bounds, or area of. All means being or representing the total extent or the whole. Are means belonging to or associated with all people or people in general. I love that. Affairs, a matter of personal concern. So see, when you break this step down and you look at every single word, I don't know about you, but when I hear those definitions, it just makes perfectly sense to me what I'm trying to achieve in this step. And it also means what I can look for. Like if you haven't worked this step, just think that gives you an idea of what you can look for, that you're going to be and that you're going to become after working through and choosing to be obedient to the teaching and the sponsorship that you have to let it change you. So I'm excited. We still have so much to cover. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to stay in the big book the whole time, and because the big book just has so much to tell us about step 12, and eventually I'm going to teach all these steps one by one, in the years to come. So that gives you something to look at where I can just teach them from beginning to end. But you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, every time that I read the steps, every time I go through the steps, every time I do what I'm doing now, I learn something different every time. It continues to change me. I just think that it's just a bottomless pit of knowledge that you can never get it all, because it just depends on where you're at when you're reading through all this literature. And at the time, where I was at when I look at my original big book, because I have two now, and when I look at the original big book that I read for the very first time and all the notes and stuff, and I do like to show how, I hope you can see this in here, how I take notes and, just write all the way through it, and this is my second one, so it's not nearly as written up as my first one. And actually the pages are, I've been in the program so long, my first big book, the pages are falling apart. So I have to kind of reference to it, but I have to be very careful with it by now. But you continue to learn. So we're going to jump in. What I'm going to do and how I'm teaching it is I'm teaching my highlighted areas because I'm talking from my experience, strength, and hope. And I always feel like step 12 is what teaches us to work with others, help others, and bring them into this program and help them to continue to get well and get healthy, and how we sponsor them. So one of the things that it says on page 92, it starts off by saying, tell him how baffled you were, how you finally learned that you were sick. That was really powerful for me, because I'm going to tell you, when I came in this program, I was not expecting this program to be the way it was. I had no idea. I had never learned of Al-Anon or AA or Gamblers Anonymous, Sex Anonymous, Stealers Anonymous, all these, nothing, never heard of any of this stuff. I came in, and it was like, wow. It was like, I was so baffled to really understand that this disease, the issues that we were suffering from was considered a disease, and that we were sick. And but I also was told immediately after that, but there is help. So that helps. The good thing about our sickness and our disease that we go through is that if we surrender to the tools of the 12-step program, we will get well. We do have help. And it's just not a band-aid. I mean, it is surgery to the highest. I always say that I'm a specialist because when I coach, you specialize in all types of behavior and skills and, things. You hear it over and over again, and you start to learn how to look for these things when you're sponsoring and you're helping people, whether you're sponsoring them or just bringing them simply in the program, and you see that there's somebody that really needs help and you're taking the time to bring them in. But the part that really baffled me that is that it was a disease and I was sick. And that if I surrendered to that and accepted that I could get well. And I was so happy that I was in a program that could get me well. And I trusted it because that first meeting that I came to, there was enough there for me to see that something happened. And I don't know what it is. I have gone back over that meeting in my head, and I try to think of what the words were saying. I just know they were talking. It was a step study. They were talking steps 1, 2, and 3. What a perfect meeting to come into your first meeting, learning about steps 1, 2, and 3. That's why it's so important in our groups that we continue to teach on the steps, because the steps are what gets us healed. I love topics. I love all that, but the steps are what gets us better. Now, it goes on to say down in that paragraph, I put on on the side, if he's alcoholic. Now, I like that because it says if he is alcoholic, he will understand you at once. Now, if he is Al-Anon, he will understand you at once. If he's a gambler, if he's a sex person, a stiller, whatever. When you share your experience, strength, and hope, if somebody's sharing with you anything, whether it be you're on your job, they're sharing something, if you are that type of person and you understand it, whatever they're saying to you, it will trigger you. And it says, he will match your mental inconsistencies with some of his own. And the comparison, that's the one thing that helped me in this program is the meetings. Meetings are so important because in the meetings, I was always matching my mental inconsistency with someone in the rooms. And with a sponsor, I believe personally that God brings us the people that we need to sponsor. Or probably if you're a treatment center, or you say that you will start to see that the type of center that you are kind of getting the same type of people with kind of the same personalities are going through things, because they will need our gifts of what we have. And I have never yet sponsored anyone in this program that didn't need just about everything that I had to get from somebody that sponsored me to get well. And I love that we match it all the time, and that's what keeps us sane. That's what takes me away from thinking I'm all alone. I'm the only one that's going through this. By me being able to be on these in these groups and talking to my sponsor, it always lets me know I'm not alone, because we always feel alone in our disease. It's something about it. It always makes us feel different. It makes us feel alone, and it makes like nobody can understand us. But this program is totally the opposite. It tells us in the disease that no, you're not alone. Yes, we understand you, and yes, we can help you. And that's what I love about this. Let's go down to the second paragraph. It says on here, I love this. It says, if you are satisfied that he's a real alcoholic, begin to dwell on the hopeless feature of the malady. Show him from your own experience how the queer mental conditions surrounding the first drink prevents normal functional functions of the willpower. And I love that because when you're sharing your experience, strength, and hope in this program, and in whatever you're in, if I'm in talking to somebody that's in the non-program, I'm always sharing my powerlessness as far as my emotions, to control my emotions about the things that I see, that I can conclude that I need to be the one that helps you. If I'm in my addictive side of the program, I am always seeing the fact of that condition and what triggers me to want to do things and control my life like that, and what draws me to that addictive position where there's drinking or gambling or stealing or drugging or sex. What is just, it's just pulling me in to make me think that without doing it this way, I'm hopeless. And so it goes on to say, and be careful not to brand him as an alcoholic. Let him draw his own conclusion. I am so glad that nobody ever branded me in this room at first. I didn't start really being branded as whatever my condition was until later on down the line. I'm glad they kept saying, keep coming back, keep coming back. You're at the right place. That I remember. You're in the right place. You're in the right place. I made the conclusion of what I was in this program based on what I heard other people share. And it goes on to say, it comes down, we're going to come down to page 92, third paragraph, where it says, continue to speak of alcoholism as an illness. Now remember, when I'm saying alcohol, I'm teaching from the big book, and this is the 12 steps for no matter what program you're in. If you're in Al-Anon, you can say, continue to speak of Al-Anon. If you're in Gamblers Anonymous, if you're in Overeaters Anonymous, you replace the word alcohol with whatever your conditions is, because you're still working these same steps that the alcoholics worked, so you can relate to what I'm saying. It says, continue to speak on alcoholism as an illness, a fatal malady. Talk about the conditions of the body and mind which accompany it. Keep his attention focused mainly on your personal experience. Explain that many are doomed who never realize their predicament. And it's so interesting there because sometimes people will call me and they're just so much in pain that I use my situation to take them out of their situation. And this is good for sponsors, counselors, therapists, coachings, or whatever you do with the 12 steps. When people are in a tough situation, they sometimes need to hear, to get them out of that situation, and that I have had it too, and this is what I did, and it worked for me, and I was okay. So I always, when they're in when they're very new, I talk about my experience a lot. I always do the comparison of where I'm talking a little bit more, and then I allow them to come in and talk until they get to the point where they start talking more of what they think that they see that maybe the program is saying to them. It goes on to say, let's see, I'm on page 93 now. The first paragraph, it says, let him ask you the questions if he will. Now that's important. It says, tell him exactly what happened to you. Stress the spiritual feature freely. If the man be agnostic or atheist, make it make it emphatic. I have to look at this word again. That he does not have to agree with your concept of God. That's very important. Most of the time, I don't, because of my program, I don't know. It's just the people that I sponsor. Most people that come to me, I haven't had too many that were just atheists. Most of them might be, we all come from all different religions and backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. But I am always able to share the God of my understanding today at the level that I shared with from the beginning. Because when someone comes to you and they ask you to sponsor them, or they ask you, they're coming to you for help, you should explain to them who you are at first. I always explain to them who I am, what I believe this program to be is so, what books I use in this program, what methods I use, what I require, two meetings a week, whatever my requirement is, whatever my phone calls is, and I put that on the line. And then I tell them, you pray about whether or not you think I should be your sponsor. Because this way they know everything about me, and they understand that I am spiritually fit now to where I will use the God of my understanding's name and the things that I feel like that I have learned about him through this program that has helped me. So I will use my spiritual foundation in this program very highly. It goes on to say, he can choose any concept he likes, providing it makes sense to him. The main thing is that he be willing to believe in a power greater than himself, and that he lives by spiritual principles. Love that, love that, love that, love that. We're going to come down to the third paragraph, and I'm going to come in the middle of this paragraph, and because this paragraph I have on the side faith. It says, but he will be curious to learn why his own convictions have not worked, and why yours seem to work so well. He may be an example of the truth that faith alone is insufficient. To be vital, faith must be accomplished by self-sacrifice and unselfishness, constructive action. I love that, because if once we learn and understand ourselves, and that's what the 12 steps gave me back. They gave me back an understanding of why I was thinking the way I was thinking, why I was being the way I was being, what I was blaming for my circumstances, and why, whether it was right or wrong or justified. But it was showing me that I had to change these things because of the pain that it was causing me, the way that I was thinking, feeling, acting. And so to be in, this is such a faith thing, because when you're sharing yourself openly and being an open book with somebody, no matter what they're bringing to you, whether it be their sex life or their children or, everything, and you're being an open book to the extent that you're talking about it at the level of first, what it used to be like, because I'm always talking about what it used to be like. and how, I have brought it to the surface as far as what I learned, and then how I practice it today. It really gives them to faith to believe in the power of this program, to be able to be led, and you be able to talk to them and help them through whatever they're going through. Let's get to the bottom of this page, and then we're going to stop. It says, perhaps your story will help him see where he has failed to practice the very precepts he knows so well. I love that because it's so interesting, because you can be in the program for years, and if you're not practicing this program and reading literature and going to meetings and all that, it can leave you. And it when you're witnessing, I call this witnessing, working with others. That's one of the things to people. You're doing it in two ways. You're doing it by living in front of them, and then you're also doing it by speaking. And so you're giving them the ability to be able to compare their understanding to another way of understanding based on the fact that you have the experience in it. So it's one thing when I'm talking to somebody that doesn't have the experience, but when I'm talking to somebody, and you stay in these rooms long enough, you will hear your story, you will hear your circumstances, you will hear what you're going through that day. You will hear it. It's there. You will hear it exactly as you've gone through it, and maybe the characters change a little bit, and then you will hear the hope. And with that um, precept, it's just something about it that makes you want that. What is that? How did that person do that? What are they doing? I got to get there. I want to feel like that. I want to be able to do that. And you know that you can, because they're telling you, yeah, I did it. And if you sit down and talk to them after the meeting, or you have a sponsor and you're talking to them, they're going to share it extensively on what you need to do to get it done. And it takes time. And you learn to be patient. You learn to be patient with others as they're teaching you. You learn to be patient with yourself. And then, and so it's just a great learning experience. Step 12 is constantly, when you're working with other people, it's constantly giving, sharing, giving, sharing, giving, sharing. You're constantly, and then you're restoring yourself with your sponsor, or your therapist or whatever. You're constantly keeping yourself, because you're constantly continuing to work the step and work through your stuff, as well as you're sharing it. So I love this program. I love, 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 love this program. And like I said, the book is available. It is so exciting. And I'm coming to you with great news. I'm going to do a workshop on changing the game plan. And there will be a save the date. It is February the 4th and the 5th. It is a webinar on Zoom, and be looking for the detail next week or the week after, but it will be to you by the end of this month. We're totally excited about it. It's $99 a person. It is going to be wonderful. I'm going to get into it and tell you how I wrote this, the journey. We're going to talk about why I went through the precept upon precept to help people to see what they had to see, and how it helped me to see what I needed to see for myself that made me change. So it's going to be a really, really fun workshop. So save that date, and I will get back to you with more information. So thank you so much for being with me on this Higher Self Wednesday. I hope you got a lot out of it. I got a lot out of it. I feel like I've been to my own meeting with myself. Keep coming back. These videos are available for you every Wednesday on YouTube at noon. So go out there, listen to them over and over again, send them to people, share them. They're yours to do with them as you please. Remember, if you're in this program, keep going to meetings, get a sponsor, work these steps, and get happy and live a healthy life. And blessings over you today, great people. See you next week.